guys, we're back talking some more Peacemaker on the channel this week with the 5th episode. I'm back in the Peacemaker costume. A promise is a promise. But last week's episode was actually pretty solid. It had a big emotional ending to it with Peacemaker as a character. And it does carry over, at least in the very beginning of the episode, he's still down in the dumps. But that immediately is helped out by the fact that there's some cute eagly moments. Out of all the episodes of the show that we've seen so far, this is personally my favorite of all the episodes because it's just balls to the wall all around crazy, even before we get to the main mission, because even the stuff before the main mission I think is a lot of fun. With all this talk about the butterflies, we finally get a little bit more insight into how they work and their food source with this PowerPoint presentation, which to be expected immediately goes downhill thanks to Peacemaker. I kind of understand why he's frustrated though, because they put his dad in jail. I mean, I don't think his dad's a good person or anything, but I understand. But I laughed so hard at this segment because of all the people that he starts listing off that he'd rather be in jail than his dad, the Euronymous. I mean, it goes on for a very long time. Even that post-credit scene extends it even further. You got BTS, Ariana Grande, Bill Cosby, Amy Winehouse, the Red Tiger from Voltron. I was on the floor laughing. Not all the humor in this episode works, but that scene in particular I thought was the best humorous moment. This entire mission portion of the episode where Peacemaker and the rest of the group go to look at this bottling company, it's just pure chaos. It's the best part of the entire episode. I knew from the get-go it was going to be chaotic once Vigilante tried to bring the chainsaw in at the very beginning. But somehow it gets even crazier once they split up. Autobio and Peacemaker split up, and Autobio tries to ask these people questions, and Peacemaker just starts shooting people immediately. He wastes absolutely no time to start blasting people's heads off. Thankfully, their explanation is the fact that his X-ray helmet shows that he can see the butterflies in people's heads, so he knows they're not like random civilians. But just the general all-around chaos of this segment is really entertaining. Like I said, he's blasting people's faces off. He's attaching grenades to Russian tank shells and throwing them into crowds of butterflies. This is the kind of mayhem that I was anticipating going into Peacemaker after watching the Suicide Squad, so I'm glad that it's living up to that crazy, bloody, chaotic nature. And we're not even done yet. There's still other crazy stuff that happens after this. Just when I thought that we hit the peak when it comes to the craziness in episode 5, we throw a damn gorilla into the mix. There's a gorilla butterfly. It took out Vigilante and Harcourt earlier in the episode, and now the entire team is trying to face off against this gorilla. I expected some goofiness to come out of Peacemaker as a series, but this is like the gold mine for goofiness, seeing them try and fight this giant, super strong gorilla. Was not anticipating Euronymous to come in with the chainsaw and just go right through his chest, blood everywhere. Just absolute brilliance all around. Bravo. It was nice to see that of all things, this was the moment that kind of bonded them all together and made them stronger as a team. Wasn't anticipating killing a gorilla to be the spark that they truly needed to bond, but you know, they're laughing, having a great time. They even have a group chat together. It's nice to see them working together finally after 5 episodes, and they seem to actually all like each other. It's just unfortunate that all this is going on and there's still that looming plot in the background where Peacemaker's dad is in jail because they framed him to get in there over Peacemaker, and the detectives are still trying to press him about the issue, and he swears that he was framed and to check the fingerprints. With how shady the entire organization has been, you had to know that Murn was going to find a way and weasel his way out of this too, getting his friend Locke to become the new captain of these detectives and kind of sway everything. At least kind of for now though, you know, we're kind of biding time here. Speaking of Murns, we have not touched upon the whole fact that he's a butterfly yet, but I am a little conflicted on him as a character right now because he's supposed to be like, you know, the butterflies are supposed to be bad people and he's doing like kind of good things, which is interesting going into later episodes after this one. Much like I said in last week's episode, I really like the budding friendship here between Peacemaker and Autobio. Autobio is just a great character. I really love Danielle Brooks in this role. I mean, of course, we do know that she has some sort of nefarious reasons behind her going and hanging out with Peacemaker at his trailer park home, because her mom wants her to plant that journal somewhere and all of this stuff. But outside of that one moment, I really liked their scenes together. It was a lot of fun having them drinking and shoot the shit. Peacemaker's trying to get advice on how to get Harcourt to actually like him. As a big DC Comics fan, I've liked all the different references and Easter eggs to other characters that James Gunn has put throughout this show. But the one that I've liked the most so far is the one in this episode referencing Kite Man and Peacemaker taking him out. Reminded me a bit of the Harley Quinn series where we've most recently seen Kite Man. I would wonder who would play Kite Man in the DCEU. That's, I mean, a character I don't think they would really do in live action. But James Gunn has made him canon. Kite Man is in the DCEU somewhere. You can very clearly tell that DC has no problem with James Gunn just making all these characters canon, like Batmite, Kite Man. There has to be others along the way. The way that we end off this episode had me very worried for Autobio. We see that she's at the office with Murns, and she puts on Peacemaker's X-ray vision helmet, and she turns to Murns and sees the butterfly in his head, and Murns, you know, goes into full butterfly mode chasing after her as the episode ends. Really good cliffhanger there. I mean, I'm not going to give away what happens, but It's a pretty interesting cliffhanger that leads into episode 6. But like I said, I love this episode the most out of the first 5 episodes. I think it's the most fun, chaotic, bloody, intense. Kind of, the thing that I expected to come out of watching this Peacemaker series. I'm surprised that I'm liking this show as much as I have, but it's been a fun surprise. Make sure you share your thoughts down below, though. What did you think of episode 5 of Peacemaker? Did you like the episode? Not like the episode? Share any thoughts, your theories you may have for what's to come in the series. We have a couple more episodes left after this. But thank you guys always checking out my reviews of Peacemaker. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you update my reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.